totally resonate with. The more you grow and learn, and as your mind opens up and your worldview shifts, it is sometimes you go so off the rails, so to speak, of your usual self that then your previous friends and connections and colleagues are like, you just really struggle to find and reconnect with the people. But then a new whole world of incredible human beings who are on the same frequency, who are aligned with your perspective, who appreciate and see this new vision, this new wisdom, that want to hear that emerges. So I'm so excited to be able to get a little bit of a sneak peek into that. And I would love to have the opportunity to chat a little bit more about then what is it that you and Nusana do? What are the challenges that you help people with? What are the tools and modalities and solutions that you bring in? What I know is that you have this kind of a science meets ancient wisdom approach, that you really take all the learning that you started with science, and somewhere along the way, as it often is, when you go deeper into science, the world of ancient wisdom and the world of spirituality is opening up at the same time. So could you take us a little bit more into, what it is that you do, what it is that you're helping people with, what are the challenges that people may have, and a little bit behind then what this journey has led you to teach and share and empower people with?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you're so right. I think the more that you learn about either ancient wisdom or modern scientific findings, they do cross over quite often, much more often than what you would initially think before you start researching these topics. Um, so Nusana at the moment, it offers one-to-one coaching services with me. I also do online and in-person events. Um, the most recent of which was a big announcement because we have launched 4040, which is a brand new, let's call it a micro coaching system. So what it focuses on are the four key pillars of what I believe are the most integral parts of how we show up and how we feel in ourselves and how we carry ourselves through our day to day. So, to give you a little bit of background on those, the four key pillars I believe are what we consume. So, that's not just food, but that's also media, that's music, that's the types of conversations we're around, everything that goes in, basically, what we consume. Um, and involved in that is also what we put on our skin, because that's such a huge topic as well. The next segment is what we think. So, not just what we think, but why we think that way. And I think so many of us are operating on autopilot. And because we go through a schooling system where we're all given lots of facts and dates and lots of things through history to remember. But nobody ever really teaches us how to use the most important tool that we have, which is our brain. And it is a tool, and we can shape it and we can change it, and we have that opportunity to do so. We don't just have to accept that it is how it is, and that's kind of it, which I fear that I mean, I feel like a lot of people do that. That's certainly what I was doing before. And the next part, so it's what you consume, what you think, what you speak. So words carry vibration, and every word that we speak can either have a positive or a negative impact on ourselves, the people around us, and the way that we see the world. So I recently learned that the brain processes, it's something crazy like 10 billion bits of sensory information a second. But obviously, we couldn't process all of that because that would be insane. So our brains filter they filter out what we take in. And that's through the RAS system, the reticular activating system. And we have the power to choose what those 10 bits of information are that we process. And when we really investigate what kind of filter we're processing the world through looks like, we can then identify where we might be able to make changes or improvements to help ourselves to experience a better life. And the final segment of 40/40 is what we do. So this really focuses on the good feeling hormones and chemicals in the body and in the brain. And I guess it's kind of taking agency over how we can understand that what we choose to do, and very importantly, who we choose to do those things with, has such a huge impact on how we see the world and our place in it. And I believe that these four core pillars are kind of like the structure of a house. So if one of them is off balance, the whole building feels it. And I think that they're all equally important.
It was really interesting to see, get some of the core beliefs that you have that you're now putting in practice in your business, because those come from your beliefs, that come from your own journey, your own realization, things you're implementing in your own life that are essential. And obviously now we're talking about how it is packaged and how it is presented maybe to the people out there, and giving our listeners a little bit of a teaser if some of these things resonate, that maybe they need a little bit more alignment in their own life. And I know that for you, kind of the word alignment, or aligning our lives, our frequencies, our vibrations, is a big part of what you do and what you believe in. So I would love to get a little bit more of your perspective on the whole aligning your frequency for your life, because you touched on it already, saying that we're looking to have happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives. It's exactly what this podcast is all about. So I'm curious to know, in your experience, in your perspective, what the aligning of frequencies and aligning of our lives actually means in practice. Like, how would you describe it?
So I think that the term aligning frequencies is it's quite broad and it's different for every person. I don't think that there's a right or a wrong way to do things. I think that we can learn key elements, we can learn key tools that can help us individually as we face challenges and setbacks in our lives, that can help to keep us on a I guess a more even keel. Um, but I'm not really one for thinking that there's kind of this mystical in the sky thing that we need to achieve. I don't really think that. I think that we are all responsible for ourselves, and that I believe it's in the micro actions that we make that changes how aligned we feel to ourselves and to our purpose. And it's kind of like I was just having this conversation with somebody before, and he asked me a very similar question. So, how do you know that something is aligned or not? And for me, it's a very clear feeling. But before, um, I wouldn't have been able to access that feeling because it was so covered up with all of the noise and the things that just don't matter, the things that we all get distracted by all of the time. So one of the things that was a real turning point for me, when I came up with the term aligning frequencies, is I started looking into, as part of my research, near-death experiences. And what I discovered was so many people around the world, regardless of their background, regardless of their religion, they would come back, come back from a near-death experience, all of a sudden having this newfound clarity and a feeling of purpose or direction. And the things that used to worry them before just don't anymore. And I remember learning this for the first time and thinking, wow, like this is amazing. And I wanted to try and find a way that we could kind of bottle this experience without, I mean, almost dying to have it. So when we look at facing the biggest fear of all, so our own mortality, once we step through that and face it head on, instead of doing what most of us do in the West, which is kind of look the other way and pretend it's not going to happen. When we force ourselves to face it and break through that fear, there's very little left to be afraid of. And I do believe that learning that and the personal experience that I had where I was really struggling, I do believe that going through that really helped me to break free, because there's no way that I would have been able to do the things that I'm doing now had I not faced that ultimate fear. And I think once we give ourselves the freedom to remember that we might not know all that there is to know, it opens us up to a whole world of opportunity. And it's magic. It's magic.